Hello, this is the Chapter 14, Section 3 video on the respiratory system. I'm Mrs. Erling, and also on the video today are Mrs. Kim and Mr. Knox. You can follow along with this video in your textbook from pages 570 to 579. And this is a reminder that your Chapter 14 test will be on Wednesday, December 17th. At any point in the video, stop, pause, rewind, whatever you need to do to get all of the notes you need. The respiratory system has several functions. The first is taking in oxygen, and we take in oxygen from the air around us, and your body uses the oxygen in a process called respiration, or you'll sometimes hear it called cellular respiration. Respiration is different from breathing. I know it sounds like breathing, but they're completely different. Respiration is a chemical reaction that changes oxygen and glucose in your body, and it changes it into energy that your body needs. Another job of the respiratory system is removing carbon dioxide and water. The reason we need to remove carbon dioxide and water is respiration. Respiration produces carbon dioxide and water as a waste product, which your respiratory system removes. So if you've ever held your hand up to your mouth and breathed on it, it might feel moist. They'll take off their glasses and they'll breathe on them and then wipe them off with their shirt. The reason for this moisture is respiration. So when you exhale, your body, your respiratory system is getting rid of the carbon dioxide and the water. The respiratory system also works with other systems. It works with the digestive system. Your digestive system absorbs glucose from the food that you eat, and remember, we need glucose for respiration. The circulatory system carries the oxygen and the glucose to your cells, where cellular respiration occurs. So the table talk, what other body systems does the respiratory system work with and how? So pause the video, think about what you just heard, rephrase it, summarize it, write it down in your notes. So hopefully you wrote down the respiratory system works with both the circulatory and the digestive systems. The digestive system gives your body glucose, and the circulatory system transports the oxygen and the glucose. The air we breathe in is not purely oxygen. It contains lots of other gases. In fact, the air is mostly nitrogen. It also has small amounts of carbon dioxide and a few other gases. But when we breathe out oxygen. So your body, when you take in a breath, it doesn't use all of the oxygen. So if you've ever seen on TV or maybe even in real life someone gives CPR, that's why CPR works, because when you exhale there's still enough oxygen in your breath to give someone who's in an emergency situation the air they need to survive. When we exhale more carbon dioxide as well, because that's a waste product.
Okay, next I'm going to talk about the path of air, how it gets from the outside into your body. First, air enters through your nose, and in your nose you have some sticky substance called mucus, and it keeps your nose from drying out, and it also traps in any dust particles that might go in. You also have little hair-like things called cilia that also traps in particles. Then the air will move down to the pharynx. We call it the throat. And the throat is actually, it connects the mouth and the nose. I don't know if you've ever had an incident where you're drinking something and you're laughing so hard that the milk comes out of your nose. Well, that's because it's connected. Mr. Knox does it all the time. Trachea. We call that the windpipe. He just made a really rude comment. And trachea is also lined with cilia, and it will, if any dust goes into the trachea, it will generate a cough trying to get it out. If food gets into the trachea, it can cause choking, but there is a little covering that protects it called the epiglottis. Then air will move down to the tube called bronchi, and it splits into two, one going into each of the lungs. And you can see that the bronchi also splits into smaller and smaller branches called bronchioles. And at the ends of the bronchioles, we have these little grape-like structures called alveoli. Let's talk about the table talk. What is the purpose of a sneeze? Why do you think people sneeze? Well, if you said it's your body's way of trying to get out particles that are irritating your nose, that is correct. Okay, alveoli, like I said, are at the ends of your bronchioles, and you have lots and lots of them. An adult has about 300 million alveoli. And this is where the gas exchange occurs. You know that blood carries oxygen to the rest of your body. Well, this is where they pick it up, in the lungs. So when blood comes to the alveoli, they're going to drop off carbon dioxide and water, and then oxygen will enter the blood, and then the blood will carry it to the cells.
All right. How we breathe. When we breathe, it's mainly our diaphragm that moves up and down rhythmically, as well as we have rib action, that the ribs relax and the diaphragm moves down, your air fills up with lungs. When we breathe out, the diaphragm contracts, goes down. Sorry. When you breathe in, the diaphragm goes down. I'm sorry, I messed that up. When you breathe in, the diaphragm goes down, air comes in, your ribs relax. When you breathe out, your ribs contract, your diaphragm goes up, and the air gets exhaled. So that's how humans breathe. And here it is in writing. So pause this, write this down, and then we can move on to the next slide. All right, how you speak. As Mrs. Kim said, there is the epiglottis right here, which leads down to your larynx and then your bronchi. Well, air passes through your vocal cords. These are your vocal cords right here. This is vocal cords during breathing and then during speaking. During speaking, they're stretched tighter, and as air passes through them, they vibrate back and forth. And this is one of the reasons why boys tend to have a deeper voice than girls, is because our Adam's apple, our vocal cords, are a lot longer than girls. The longer the string, think of a guitar, the longer the string, the deeper that sound is. The tighter and shorter that string is, the higher pitched the sound is. So, it's your vocal cords right here, located in your voice box, that allow you guys to speak. All right. That concludes the PowerPoint presentation. Make sure you guys follow along with your book, and hopefully you guys taking good notes, because we're going to have a quiz on this. Thank you.